Welcome, racing fans, to Motorsports Radio, channel MR1, home of motorsports talk, and we're talking about the Cheez-it 355 at the Glen this past weekend's NASCAR Sprint Cup Series event winner, Denny Hamlin, with a crazy finish in the number 11 Joe Gibbs Toyota. So we'll get right into it. Cheez-it 355, 90 laps, 220.5 miles, and a sold-out crowd for the second year in a row on a fresh new pavement. Pole sitter cousin Carl Edwards in the 19 Toyota, Kyle Larson in the 42 Chevrolet started in second, and Tony Smoke Stewart started in third in the number 14 Stewart Haas Chevrolet. Green flag dropped at 2:52 p.m. Eastern Time, and off they go with the 18, the 42, and the 14 in the top three. Kenseth in fourth, Kyle Busch in fifth. Kenseth climbs up to third at the close of lap 1. Stewart drops down to fourth. The Motorsports Radio top three at lap 3. Now the 19, 42, and the 20. Carl Edwards, Kyle Larson, Matt Kenseth, Toyota, Chevy, Toyota. Austin Dillon in the number 3 car spins going into the bus stop area, the inner loop, after a little bump from the 88. And who was driving the 88 on Sunday? You guessed it, Jeff Gordon. Tony Stewart then drops down to Tony Stewart drops down to 6th. AJ Allmendinger up to 4th. Matt Kenseth climbs up to 2nd. Kyle Larson down to 5th. So the top 3 at lap 10, Carl Edwards, Matt Kenseth, and AJ Allmendinger. Tony Stewart misses the inner loop bus stop area. So the inner loop, right? And you know how road courses are. Some sections, they don't want you going. So the inner loop, you got to take the inner loop there, and they had the cones out there, and he missed this turn. Now, according to NASCAR, you can go straight provided you come to a full stop first, this is what Smoke did. Unfortunately, Stewart would drop down to 16th. Then we have question number 1, lap 13 for debris. Restart would be at lap 15. Still, Carl Edwards, Matt Kenseth, and AJ Allmendinger in the top 3. The 4 and the 43 crew over the wall too soon during this first question, and the 88 speeding on pit road, exiting pit road. Also, Reagan Smith, the number 7, speeding on pit road. Now, obviously, 4, Kevin Harvick, 43, Eric Almirola. Lap 18, Kyle Busch takes 3rd, Kenseth down to 4th, Logano down to 5th, Logano teammate Keselowski running 6th, and top 3 now, Carl Edwards, AJ Allmendinger in 2nd, and Kyle Busch in 3rd. The 19, 47, and the 18, Kyle Larson dropped down to 8th. Kyle Busch, lap 19, climbs into 2nd, Allmendinger down to 3rd. So now you have the 19, 18, and the 47. Then lap 22 brings the first round of green flag pit stops. Jimmy Johnson brings the 48 in. He's the first to come into pit. Also receives a penalty for an uncontrolled tire violation. Ryan Blaney, the 21 team, penalized for speeding on pit road. The 48 and the 21 had to serve a pass-through. 48, however, speeding on the pass-through, had to come back to serve a stop and go. Kyle Larson misses the bus stop as well during all of this. Green flag pit stops continue. The 47, AJ Allmendinger, speeding on pit road, and Carl Edwards in the 19 for a tire violation. And the tire outside of the pit box, while pitting, that was a hair over the line. So the 19 car, okay, so NASCAR called it an outside tire violation. So these guys, it's the tire change, they take the tires off and they just throw them, okay? Okay, throw it, okay? So the tire changer throws the tire towards the wall, bounces off the wall, winds up in front of the 19 car, and goes out the box. It looked like the 19 may have hit the tire, but the tire went over the line as the 19 car started moving. It both happened simultaneously, but then again, that's a uncontrolled tire violation, and of course now a pass-through penalty as well for cousin Carl. Top 3 lap 28, Joey Logano, Danica Patrick, and Paul Menard, 22-10 and the 27. Clint Boyer in 4th, David Reagan in 5th, Matt Kenseth drops down to 14th. Green flag pit stops still solid going through. After the green flag pit stops, we have Danica Patrick in front, Kyle Busch, and then Clint Boyer makes first, second, and third. The 10, the 18, and the 15. Now the 22 goes to pit and gets a penalty on pit road for speeding. And then in lap 34, Danica Patrick climbs up into first. So now you get to lap 42, top three. You have Danica Patrick, Kyle Busch, and Bart Keselowski, the 10, the 18, and the 2. Now, Danica Patrick has not pitted just yet. She would pit eventually at, I think it was lap 49 or 43 or 44. Kyle Rowdy Busch getting up on Danica Patrick, trying to get the 18 machine in front of that number 10, but Kyle Busch, he does take the lead. Lap 46, that's when Danica Patrick comes into pit. So now you have the 18, the 2, and the 15. And after 33 laps of green flag racing, caution number 2, loose wheel, Matt Benedetto on pit road. Landon Castle is the lucky dog. Loose wheel on pit road. The Benedetto has to serve a pass-through because the incident happened while still under green. So it was green when the tire came out, rolled out, and then that caused them to bring out the caution. So since that happened before the caution, pass-through penalty. Otherwise, it'd be starting the back of the longest line. 2 penalties for Paul Menard and Chris Buescher, the 27 and the 34 team, both with the fuel guy throwing fuel cans. Also, so that's considered throwing of equipment. Then the restart finally comes at lap 53 with 37 laps to go. Kurt Busch in the front now in first place. Kurt Busch in the 41. Carl Edwards, Joey Logano right at the top 3. 41, 19, 22. Danica Patrick in 5th at this time. And the 22, Joey Logano rockets to the front to take this lead. Top 3 now, 22, 19, and the 41. Then a big one through the carousel area brings out caution number 3. And what happened was there was 1 through 5 cars involved in this one. The 17 of Ricky Stenhouse Jr. gets loose, and then we have a chain reaction. The 17, the 21, the 48, the 3, and the 16 also involved. The crazy thing is the 16 car, Greg Biffle, was the 16 Cheez-it Ford. And it was the Cheez-it 355. So 21 Ryan Blaney, Jimmy Johnson, the 48, Austin Dillon, the 3, also involved. The 17 gets loose. Then the 17 hopped the curb, causing the 17 to get loose, goes into the opposite side wall, bounces off the wall, spins back into the track, and that was when the other cars got involved. The restart would be at lap 36. Casey Kane in this question has a penalty for speeding on pit road. And the top 3 out of this restart, Bart Keselowski, Kevin Harvick, and Denny Hamlin, the 2, the 4, and the 11. Keselowski separating himself from the field until the bus stop, and another big wreck. Question 4, lap 57. The 23 starts spinning, same area, the carousel area. 23 spins and another chain reaction. David Reagan, Carl Edwards, Clint Boyd, and Alex Kennedy all involved in this one. The 23, 19, 15, and the 55. The restart would come out at lap 59. Keselowski, Harvick, Hamlin still in the top 3. Hamlin up to second, Harvick down to third, and everyone's flying after this restart. Lap 60, green flag pit stops. Harvick first to pit. Then you have Kyle Busch climbs up to third. Lap 62, other drivers start pitting. And question 5, lap 64, during this round of green flag pit stops, and this will be for debris at the inner loop area, grass and dirt. Restart lap 67, Bart Keselowski, Denny Hamlin, and Kyle Busch now the top 3, 2, 11, to 18. Smoke Stewart in 4th, and Truex Jr. in 5th. Lap 70 would mark the last 20 laps. Kyle Busch at lap 68 climbs up to second. Denny Hamlin down to third. So now at lap 68, the 2, the 8, and the 11 are in the top 3. Lap 75 starts the last 15. Keselowski working some fuel strategy. Kyle Busch trying to get in front of Keselowski, but then caution number 6, lap 76. Alex Kennedy's 55 car smoking, engine expired. Lucky dog is Austin Dillon. The restart lap 80, still Keselowski, Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin, top 3. And with a 10-lap shootout, 10 laps to the checkered. And the 2 and the 18 fight for first, and whoa, both off course, getting freight trained. Denny Hamlin takes the lead. Now, this is where it all really started winding down, and this race started to take shape towards the end. And it all happened so fast, but then we have another big wreck. So much for that 10-lap shootout. Prior to the caution, Keselowski dropped down to second. Kyle Busch dropped down to 5th. And caution 7 will come out lap 84 to 13. Now, I thought it was the 13, but I think it was another car. I saw the 13 spinning, and there was another car, a black car with red numbers. It wasn't Truex Jr., so a bunch of cars were spinning, and Okay, and so the restart comes lap 83. Now Denny Hamlin in front, Keselowski running second, Joe Logano in third, going to 3 wide into turn 1. Truex Jr. up to third now. So I have the 11, the 22, and the 78. 7 laps to go, and yet another caution. Number 4, Kevin Harvick this time. He would wind up dropping out. 23, David Reagan, wreck at the bus stop area. 34 also involved Chris Buescher. He would also drop out of the race. And red flag is displayed. There's actually 2 red flags. Because the last, the big wreck, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., that was the first red flag, and this would be the second red flag of the race. And now we restart lap 86, and now we have a 4-lap shootout. Top 3, Denny Hamlin, Joe Logano, Truex Jr., 11:22 to 78, Kyle Larson in 4th, Keselowski 5th, Kyle Busch 6th, Truex Jr. up to 2nd, Keselowski in 3rd, Logano and Keselowski side by side as the 22 gets past that number 2 to retake 3rd. 11, 78, 22, top 3 with 3 laps to go. The 2 and the 22 still fighting for 3rd. Keselowski does retake 3rd, however. So now you have the 11, 78, and the 2 with 2 laps to go. And the 78, man, this is where it got crazy. The 78 trying to get that 11. And a fight for first between the leader, Denny Hamlin, and second place, Truex Jr. White flag flies at lap 89. Still 11, 78, 2, top 3. All 3 separating from the rest of the field. And oh man, Truex Jr. on the last turn, turn 7, spins. He was so close on Denny Hamlin. Spins after a little contact from the number 2 car. And spins, and the Daytona 500 winner, Denny Hamlin, goes to win the Cheez-it 355. Denny Hamlin, first road course win and second win for 2016. The 42 also got a wreck. Here's what happened. So the 78 spins, contact from the 2, prior to Keselowski, and the 2 also contacted the 42, which I think he hit the wall. The 78 just spins, and that was it. And wow, what a burnout from Denny Hamlin. Did you see that burnout? All in good fun. And probably the best post-race burnout of 2016. Yeah, I'm going to say it. So there you go. Motorsports Radio. Oh, and they got that burnout. He shredded up both rear tires and had to walk to victory lane. Motorsports Radio race info: 8 leaders, 9 lead changes, top speed 125.671 miles per hour. Fastest lap time was 70.183 seconds. 8 cautions, 20 yellow flag laps, and the race time 2 hours, 35 minutes, and 30 seconds. So as mentioned, only Xfinity Series come up this week, but the next NASCAR Sprint Cup Series race is on Saturday, August 20th from Bristol. So you actually have truck race Wednesday, August 17th, truck night race, Xfinity Series Friday night, August 19th, and Sprint Cup Series on Saturday, August 20th. All night races, and that's the Bristol schedule. But this upcoming weekend, it's only Xfinity Series from Mid-Ohio. Thank you for tuning in. This is Manny Allegretta, and this is Motorsports Radio, CommunityRadioLI.com.